After I get really angry, I feel like the worst person in the world. Like I feel really, really like terrible because there's people in my life who can get really angry like that. I just get scared that I'm going to turn out like them, and I really don't want that because they can get really scary angry. It's really difficult. I try to sort of see from their perspective like what I said and how that would have made them feel. Just thinking about the things that I've done, really thinking about them, trying my best to learn from that. It's hard, like it's really hard to learn from mistakes, but I really try my best with the worst that I do to help fix the situation and not ruin relationships that I have, because that's like the last thing that you want. So yeah, self-repair I think is definitely something to get into after you've been really angry, just for the sake of like yourself and the people around you.
First of all, you've got to remember that getting angry in the first place is something that we all do. I think sometimes we can get really down on ourselves after we've been angry. So just trying to have some grace with yourself and help yourself remember that actually that happens sometimes, and thinking part of your brain wasn't doing its job in that moment. A key thing with repair is to make sure you're calm when you go to have that repair, because what we were talking about before in terms of that problem-solving part of your brain, you know, if that part hasn't reconnected yet, chances are the repair might not go the way you plan. You know, it might sort of become, you know, you might go in trying to apologise and the other person's still got an edge in their voice, and suddenly you're way up here having, you know, another argument again. So I would go easy on yourself. I would make sure that you're calm when you go to decide what you're going to do next. And then I'd sit down and go, okay, what are my options here? And sometimes I'll literally write them down. I'll sit down and go, write it down like a problem, and I'll go, okay, well, my options are I could just sort of duck my head and hope it blows over, or I could go and apologise, or I could go and apologise and hope we can have a conversation about how we can do it differently, you know. Go through and work out what the consequences of those might be, and then pick a course of action that you want to go with. I think if you're going with apology or a discussion with the person, something first of all be really mindful of is ideally that person would be calm too. And hopefully you'll get a bit of a sense of that when you're talking to them about whether they're ready to talk about it or not. Or they may flat out tell you, I'm not ready to talk about this at this point. That's totally fine. At that point, your job is to go, that's cool, I'll be here when you're ready, and moonwalk your way out of there. You want both of you to be able to be calm and talk about things really rationally. So picking your moment's really important. If it is that you're going to apologise for something, we don't have to apologise for being angry. We can apologise for our behaviour when we were angry. I'm really sorry that when I was frustrated before, I snapped at you, and that's not okay. I'm really sorry about it. That's a really great apology because it says, this is what I did, I'm sorry about it, and then it stops talking. I think as humans we have a tendency to go, this is what happened, I'm sorry about it, but you, blah, 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 you know, and all of a sudden we're having another argument, or we're listing that other person's faults, or we're giving a list of all the excuses about why it's completely reasonable actually that we did what we did, but we're sorry because that's the socially nice thing to do, you know. So if you're going to go and you're going to apologise, do a good job of it. This is what I did, and I'm sorry, stop talking. And that might open a conversation, or you might be able to say, like, how was that for you? How are you doing? You might be able to say, what would you like me to do next time? Or how can we do that better together? You might end up in a really awesome conversation about repair. But even at its baseline, you've gone and said, do you know what? That was a bad call. I'm really sorry. And we can't control what the other person does next, but we can control what we do. And I think being able to call ourselves when we've done stuff that's not okay and then be kind to ourselves afterwards is a really big skill. And I think as humans, we also have the opportunity to kind of review, like hindsight, people talk about, you know, to be able to go back and go, was there a time in that conversation that I could have gone, actually, I need a bit of a breather here, or I could have said, you know what, I'm getting a bit too frustrated, let's come back and talk about this in 15, 20 minutes, you know, what could I have done differently? And then just take that learning with you as you go, and hopefully you'll be in a better position the next time.